lived in Norman my entire life. I went through kindergarten through high school here in Norman. I went to college, graduated with a degree in finance, worked as an accountant for 5 years. Got married to my wife, KK. We have 2 girls, Claire and Madeline. They're 4 and 2. And then we have a boy on the way in March. And I'm a pastor here in town at Antioch Community Church. So I worked in the corporate world for 5 years and then really felt the call just to go and serve people in Norman. So that's what I'm doing now. I've done it for about 4 years. And I work with the 20s and 30s of the church, so the millennial generation. And we live here in Norman. We live just down the street on Cynthia Circle, and we'll be here forever. We're choosing to raise our kids here, put them through Norman Public Schools, and I wouldn't rather them live anywhere else or raise my kids anywhere else than Norman. I saw a need on the council for civility, and I've noticed over the past few years that civility has actually gone away from the council. It seems like the thing we agree the most on is that we disagree about things in Norman. And I really don't see that as a way of getting things done in Norman. I see us working together. It's a nonpartisan race, it's a nonpartisan position, and I don't see why we can't work together, why we can't push things forward, why we can't come together without putting our heels in the ground over here and our heels in the ground over here, and working together to make hard decisions that can move Norman forward. I think disagreement isn't always bad, but doing it in a respectful way with civility is needed. And you're not going to see anything move forward in Norman. We're not going to see great things. We're not going to see the city thrive if the council cannot come together and respect each other with open dialogue and healthy conversation. I think the key is listening. I think a lot of times we want to be heard more than we want to be listened, or we want to be heard more than we listen to other people. And that's not my approach. Like I said, I'm doing this to be a public servant, not as, I don't have aspirations to be a politician. I don't have aspirations to go any further than city council. I'm doing it to serve the city of Norman because I love the city of Norman. There's no agenda. If there is any agenda, it's to serve well and to bring unity on the council to how we can make Norman a better place. Because it is the best place in Oklahoma to live. That's why we chose to raise our family here. But I think the key to that is to listen. And it might sound naive, it might sound vague, but I really think there's a lot of strength in the ability to come down to a table and listen to the other side and have a respectful dialogue and move forward. And that has to be the basis of it all, because if we don't do that, we'll just kind of be stuck. I live on a street where our neighbors care for each other. We look out for each other. We talk to each other. My daughters can go to their house and it's a safe place. And it's just a community feel. And that's what I love about Norman, where it's not a small, tiny town. It's 125,000 plus, but it feels like a small community. And that's how I felt my entire life living here, where I have friends that I played soccer with growing up that I had in kindergarten that are still some of my best friends today. And you can't really say that in a lot of cities or most cities, but Norman is a unique place that is community driven, and that's why I think it's one of the best places to live in Oklahoma. And I think the university plays into that. Having just a vibrant, eclectic culture that we have in Norman is a benefit that you won't find anywhere else in Oklahoma. I think the biggest things that I would push for on City Council, we just passed a public transit tax in the fall, and I have a financial background. That's what I went to school for. I can look at a balance sheet. I can study that and make decisions that help the city move forward. And so I want to push to be good stewards of that tax. Not to say that we won't be, but I would love to be at that table and help make decisions that steward the tax that's coming in, where we can set ourselves up for the future. So the regional transit system from Oklahoma City to Moore to Norman to Yukon to Edmond, that will eventually be here at some level. I would love to help set Norman up to be able to be ready when that's going on. I also think with the transit system operated by OU in the past, there's some work that needs to be done with routes. And my neighbor, she lives right next to us. She takes the bus every day to work, but it's one of those situations where you have to call and they come pick you up. There's not a route that goes by our house that could benefit her a lot. There's an independent living center down the street from us that they could benefit from a route going by them. And I think a great public transit system really lends itself to every demographic in the city. So whether it's from the children to the senior citizens to the young professionals that are graduating OU, our transit system should be able to benefit everyone at the same time. Not just one sect of people over here, the university students. It's for everybody. And so I would really push to make sure that we are thinking about everyone in the process and helping it benefit them for every age group. Yes, I think thinking responsibly about financial issues is a key to this whole process. And I actually served as the treasurer at the Thunderbird Clubhouse. I've been on the board there for 3 years now, here in Norman. And it's an organization that serves the adults that are recovering from mental illness. And I think that's also something in Norman that we need to talk about more. People with mental illness, which I think ties into the homeless population that you see in Ward 6. But you also see it in our ward. You see it in Ward 3, Ward 8. There's segments of homelessness that goes throughout our whole city that I think some people come to the table and approach it as we just need to get rid of the issue, and I come at it with I would love to see a compassionate side of, hey, how are we serving the most vulnerable people in our city, people that the majority of them have mental illness, but how are we also not enabling them, an issue that keeps on going. So it has to be compassion, and it has to be practical solutions. And I think that's something that even the city is already going after. There's an ad hoc committee for homelessness, an issue that it is currently in our city. And so I would love to work with that as well. I would love to be a part of that and to bring even the things that I've learned from the board of the Thunderbird Clubhouse into that and just work to help the city move forward. What I think Norman needs are not politicians with agendas. I think we need public servants. And that's what this position is for. The City Council is a public servant that's here to serve the constituents of our city, specifically Ward 2. And I would be honored to be that for this city, to serve the city in this capacity, a city that's given me so much that I can give back to as well.